feels like the draft. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft, draft, draft. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. It feels like the draft, 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 draft.
It is still feeling drafty as of right now. No Kevin Durant trade has been announced. Everybody can rejoice because as of right now, we still have DraftBeat. With me today, no Alex Musabai. Shout out to him. He's with us in spirit as a Panthers fan. But with me today, if he ever unmutes his own mic, Saucy Takes. You got to unmute your own mic. It doesn't let me do it.
What's good? What's good? How is it going, everybody? The sign would be lit, but FPL is holding holding me hostage at the moment. But
damn, Chad wants you to do it for the Ice Cats. Come on, give it.
It's not even plugged in.
Wow.
I don't know where it is.
Wow, no guts. No guts.
It's a shameful. It's a shameful day because we're talking about the shameful heat. So, if it was for the Ice Cats, this would be lit up. My fucking room would look like Universal Studios, but instead we're in Busch Gardens.
Hey, you know what? That's fair. We will go right on to today. We before we get to our wings, we did finally get to hear from the Miami Heat some of the prospects that they have worked out. And in that first round range, the guys we've talked about, Jace Richardson. Today we're going to be talking about Will Riley from Illinois. We're going to mention him as well. There's one guy that is a guard that we didn't get to talk about. We didn't expect. We thought he was more late first, early second, maybe. But the Heat have reportedly worked him out. So we're gonna, before we get into the wings, let's go right back to the guards real quick with Mr. Tyrese Proctor out of Duke. You'll see him on film if you're watching on YouTube or on Twitch. Number 5 for Duke, a stacked team. Mr. Tyrese Proctor was a highly regarded recruit out of the NBA Academy, 21 years old, 6'4" wingspan, 6'4" height, 183 pounds, 6'7" wingspan, 8'4" standing reach. You see here, shooter, absolute shooter, has improved every year from deep, 36.5% for his career. So there's a good basis, and playing in a more off-ball role with Con Knuppel, Cooper Flagg, Kamal Malawak, he's still held his own. Kind of a lot of scouts compare him to like an Andrew Nemhard, guy who can run the offense a little bit, more of a secondary guy, but good connector, decent playmaker. A stat I found that I liked: 50% on non-rim twos. That's very good from the mid-range, good from the floater, and most of it was non-created. No, it was self-created, 75% of them actually. 3-and-D potential, absolutely. 95th percentile in spot-ups, 80th percentile as a ball handler. Concerns: wasn't a good half-court finisher at the rim. 54% overall, 50% at the rim in the half court. Questions about his athleticism and his upside. Like you see he's a smart player, he's reading his cuts, doing a great job on the off-ball screens. Nobody's touching him. He's cutting backdoor and getting easy layups. Like, this is a good rotation player, and you hope he's a solid basis and continues to get better. But Lou, is there anything you'd like to add about Tyrese Proctor?
Yeah, just real quick. So one of the most prolific shooters, you mentioned how good at shooting he was, not just on catch and shoots where he shot 37%, but he shot 47% on pull-up threes last year. Like, he is a threat to shoot off the dribble as well. And like you said, the non-rim twos is a factor of just his pull-up midi as well, alongside with his touch from the floater range. But aside from those things, 95th percentile spot up, was mostly used off ball, but still, for being like a combo guard, over 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, which is good. You mentioned the connecting, but he also has some pick and roll chops, 88th percentile in pick and roll, including his passing, 80th without. So like the passing does help there. and just a little bit of a bigger point guard. The defense I've seen, we see people in the comments. By the way, questions, we will be answering questions.
Absolutely.
So if you have questions now, leave them in there and then we'll get back to them. But Tyrese Proctor, I don't think he's a negative defender. I don't know if he's going to be shut down, but he's definitely at least average and serviceable. Questions on his upside per usual, and how true of a point guard can he be at the next level is yet to be seen. But in my opinion, I liked him more. I still like him more than I did Walter Clayton Jr. So I think, just for me, like I wouldn't mind him being the pick.
That's very fair. I think it's a little rich. I think the Heat are in a good spot where they're going to be better players. I won't be mad at this pick, depending if they pick him over other guys. But he's a guy that I like watching play, and I think he's solid.
Exactly. He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna bust out of the league. I just think there's a cap to how good he can be for sure.
Absolutely. And our next guy. We're gonna start talking right into our wings. One of our favorites, Nique Clifford, out of Colorado State University. He is a former teammate of Isaiah Stevens, G League point guard for the Miami Heat and the Sioux Falls Skyforce.
Yep.
So you're familiar with him. He played 2 years at Colorado, 3 years at Colorado, 2 years at Colorado State, I believe.
Yep.
He is the oldest prospect we're going to be talking about. So that's to be warned, guys. 23 years old by opening night. He measured 6'5", without shoes, 202 pounds. Does have a 6'8" wingspan, 8'6" standing reach. So a lot of things to like about this guy. Let's let you get it going, Lou. Nique Clifford, what do you like?
Incredible isolation player. Like you can see it on film. Really in control of his movements. Puts a lot of pressure on the rim offensively. Not one of these older, like he was the best player on the floor every single game he was on the floor, just about. Like he knows how to control pace, control tempo. Really good in the mid post. They feed him against smaller guards. He can mismatch hunt for being only 6'5". I know it's ironic he's not the biggest player, but he's pretty strong. How much can that translate is going to be interesting. But an improved shooter, 36% on catch and shoot threes, 39% on pull up threes. Good passer, good on the free throws. Like he doesn't really have a big hole in his game. I think my biggest concern with him is he's not a bad athlete by any means. I think he's actually a pretty good athlete, but it's just how much of his dominance was just experience over younger players. He was more physical, more like physically developed at almost like he's going to turn 24 in February. So he's going to be 24 before the All-Star break. It's,
he's older than Nico for perspective.
Yeah. He's 2 years older than Nico and Kalel Ware. I think about a year and a half younger than Tyler, like maybe a year younger than Tyler. So there is some concerns in terms of like the upside, but honestly, if age aside, like he is a certified hooper, does whatever it takes to win, hustle, motor, putbacks, very
the back pass.
Yeah. And Franky, I don't know, because last year when I was watching the Stevens tape, his jumper did not look this pretty. He pulls with full confidence from 2 and from 3 now. Like it's very, this is going to sound, it's going to be funny. He had some moments that it kind of felt like DeMar DeRozan-esque at the mid post. Yeah. Sorry guys. I don't want to fucking get you. We have DeMar DeRozan in the draft if we need him. So don't trade 20 for him, please.
No, I hear you. No, we did know a little bit about Nique, like you said, because of the Isaiah Stevens, but he was also checking out the draft last year. He pulled his name out. So but before he did, we were looking at him as a potential second round pick instead of Pell, and see if and we like this guy. We talked about this guy a lot. And like you said, he did get a lot better. He was already a really good rebounder, but he's improved on his jump shot, kept it consistent, more volume. You see the rebounding, the athleticism, that he's got connector potential, scaled up in this role. But some of that you don't, like you said, you're wondering if that's college, if he can do that in the pros. 95th percentile in pick and roll, and also in isolation as well. High character. I've listened to a few of his interviews, and it's a guy who just knows who he is, his game, and like I feel like he would step into a role and do what he has to do to play and help a team win. Like you said about the age, the upside. I'm also still questioning the shooting. He did make major strides, but it is a small sample. And I just putting that out there that it's not a easy thing, because he did improve in the free throw, but it was still only 77%, so it's not a great number. I still think he's gonna have to be a guy who gets left open from deep. But the thing to love about this guy, I think his floor is just so damn high.
No, he'd be an instant rotation player next year. Like it's interesting because how much upside can you extrapolate from somebody who's 23 to 24? Mm-hmm. But he's felt like he's been a late bloomer because he continues to get better, and you see it. Like, you really do see it. Like, it was truly impressive last year watching the film, him being a complete non-shooter, and the serious improvement this year. Like, there's obviously some hesitancy, like how consistent is that? Like, is he actually this level of a shooter? But he is, he's just a little bit more polished than the other guys. Just, I don't know. He works really hard. So I think he's probably going to be gone by 20, if I'm being honest.
No, I think so too. I think he's a late teens selection for some of those teams in a better position. But he's a guy I don't hate, but I would prefer other guys just because of the upside. I think that I'd rather take a swing. I'd rather swing and miss than hit a single at this pick with how the Heat stand as it is. Let's go over our next guy, a guy you really like, Mr. Will Riley out of Illinois. Mr. Riley, I'll give you a quick breakdown of Mr. Riley here. He is a 6'8" freshman, measured 6'8". He's only 19 years old, 185 pounds, a little light. 6'8" wingspan, so he's boxy. He's perfect square. 8'8" standing reach. What do you like, and what draws you to Will Riley so much?
So the biggest sell on Will Riley is he makes hard shots look easy. And it's tough, because he's a little scrawny, and he is, he's young. He's not even, I think he just turned 19 years old. So this is a freshman, true freshman coming out of Illinois. But he just gets to these pull-ups so comfortably that he already makes them at a decent enough clip. 95th percentile in isolations as a true freshman for Illinois is ridiculous in college. You would like to see some more consistency out of Will Riley. The issue, I think, is all going to come down to the frame, Frankie. Like, realistically, if this guy can maintain his level of, because he has a really, he has a profound pickup game around the rim. Like, he loves to spin, create space. He loves his bumps to create space. He can rise up because he's 6'8". Typically, he's getting guarded by shorter guys. So if he can add on about, 15 pounds of weight, this is going to be really, really good for him. Another really big sell for me personally on Will Riley is he had one of the highest assist to turnover ratios out of the guys we're going to talk about. It was 1.73. Really, really, really good facilitator out of like these off screens, handoff, pin down situations, finding his bigs, hitting the pick and pop on his big, hitting some nice cross court passes when he has some mismatches. Like, there's an intriguing offensive skill set there for the guy to eventually turn into something. And lanky 6'8" guys who can handle the ball to this level don't typically come around, or you have a chance at them at 20. He comes with some flaws, but I'm gonna let you talk about his flaws because I know that you have some questions about him, as you should, because I do too.
Well, absolutely. And like, I'll be honest, like, this was a guy you were trying to sell me on early before I had watched. And when I was kind of like trying to nitpick a little bit, just to troll you. But if anyone knows what I look for in a wing, it's usually those point forward types. So like, there was stuff to like. 6'8" ball handler with that feel, like you mentioned, the assist to turnover ratio as a freshman in a major basketball conference, like that's a lot to like. And for him to be playing with another potential lottery pick in Casper's number 32 here, you'll see like he's probably going to go ahead of Will, but 100%. Will handled the ball a lot for a team that had somebody with a lot of talent and made good decisions. I like his feel. I like his craft around the pick and roll. You see him bump, slow it down, snake the pick and roll, engage the defender. I love that stuff. My concerns, besides the ball handling and passing, which not everybody has. So
yeah, for sure.
Skinny 185 is light. He is 7 pounds lighter than heavier than Jace, who's 8 inches shorter. It's not like he's very athletic to go with it. He tested poorly on game film. He doesn't play very explosive. Is way more of a craft guy.
More of a smoother guy than a bursty guy, for sure, 100%.
Right. And defensively, like, I really worry about him. He doesn't, for being that skinny, he doesn't get skinny around screens. He doesn't navigate them well at all. Low stocks. I think he had 0.6 as total stocks. 32% from deep, 72% from the line. Like, there's not a lot else to fall back on. And granted, he's a freshman. We're dealing with a small sample size. Could get better. Like we said, if we're gonna critique Nique for being older, 4 years older than this guy, give Will the time to develop and stuff. But like, as a basis, I think he's just solid. And I think there's other, if they traded back and wanted Will, I would see it a lot more. But at 20, I think there's more upside to go for.
Yeah. One thing, like, because I wanted to see, has he been able to put on weight from when he measured at the Basketball Without Borders camp? Okay. And he put up like 9 pounds he gained in a year, which isn't bad. It's certainly an improvement. So he was even smaller. He was 176 at Basketball Without Borders, which is ridiculously, he's more of a project pick. There is some things to work on. The defense for me is the biggest concern. Aside, like, out of the things that we can control, like, realistically, like, the weight is not something that you can improve on just by working on it. Like, it takes time. But some of the defensive, like, inability to make plays and stuff, I don't know who he guards. He's like too big. He's like too slow to guard some ones and twos, but he's also not big enough to guard up. Right. So it's going to be a concern. The offensive is intriguing, but I think, to your point, I do like him more than if the Heat were in a different timeline and they were pushing a different direction, this is somebody that I wouldn't mind, because the team is so deprived of offensive talent. I do think that he can fill that need, but it's going to come at a cost for other reasons. And ultimately, I think at 20, they're going to have to make a choice. What do they value more long-term, or what can they fix? And maybe his frame or whatever, kind of like Nico a couple of years ago, they think that they can add some weight to it and help improve some of his shortcomings, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hear you. I agree. Like, it's I don't think he's a bad prospect. I see the appeal. It's just, like you said, where they at. I think you want a higher floor than him. And there's a world where he's like out of like he's unplayable and you're drafting for 4 Sioux Falls instead of the Heat. Mm-hmm. All right. So we've gone through Clifford, Proctor, and Riley. We have 3 more prospects to go. Let's go a little bit more exciting here. I've heard this name a lot from the fan base. I like this guy a lot. Let's get into Rasheer Fleming out of St. Joseph's. This is a big guy, and we had a discussion before we finalized the prospects of whether this guy is a wing or a big. I think he's like a solid 4 that can eventually play 5. But I think he's such a perimeter guy that I think he's going to be able to play on the perimeter a lot, shoot the 3, and stuff like that. This guy's really intriguing because of how massive he is. This guy, Rasheer Fleming, is about to turn 21. He is 6'8", without shoes, so a little bit bigger, 232 pounds, very solid, 7'5" wingspan. Woof. That is a reach. Woof. Speaking of reach, 9'1" standing reach. Woof. He measures like a big.
He does.
Like the positives, his size, 69% finisher at the rim. 67 in the half court. You'll see here number 13, 90th percentile in transition, 89th percentile on post-ups, 95th percentile on cuts, 89th percentile as a jump shooter, 89th percentile at the rim, 2.9 stocks per game, almost 1.5 even across the board, 8.5 rebounds, and there were strides every year. You see the jumper, it's a little bit of a wonky jumper, but it's smooth enough. He doesn't take a lot of time. It's not the prettiest jumper, but it is pretty and very functional. Shot of 39%, was taking shots off movement a little bit, coming off pin downs, wasn't all just standstill spot up guy. Now the negatives, he's way more of a play finisher than a lot of these other guys. He's not very cerebral, doesn't have great hands, doesn't attack the closeouts great, fumbles the ball sometimes. He had a negative assist to turnover ratio which at his age I don't love. I feel like you should. That's showing me that there's some field concerns there. Yep. Doesn't dribble much. A lot of it is just catching cuts, and he's great at that stuff. But if you're looking for a guy to break the defense down, he's not going to be it right now. To his credit, he's gotten better. You see some of the attacking issues here, getting closeouts, not really able to do much, not much of an in-between game. So there is some concerns there. But I think as a base, there's a lot to like here.
No, there is 100% a lot to like because he does have weaknesses, but his strengths are so easy and so translatable to a role in the league. Like you stated, he does have some attacking closeouts deficiencies and things of this nature, but a guy who's this big, who is this massive, 39% catch and shoot from three. Ironically, he took 0 pull-up threes. So, there's some taking some
real quick, Lou,
Yeah.
Sorry. I just want to go back to this play right here. Look, coming off a screen, turns around, sets his feet on the contest and rises up. That's not something they have a lot of, especially at that size.
Especially at that size.
That's just something I wanted to highlight. Go ahead, continue, please.
No, absolutely. And to your point, it's, he's going to bring some things to the table that the Heat don't have. This size and this frame is very similar to Bam's frame when he was coming out. 6'8", 7'5" wingspan, 235, damn near. Bam was 6'8", 250, 7'2" wingspan. Very similar. And I know he wears 13, but he moves and he covers a lot of ground defensively as well. The issue that I have with him as a prospect, because we are going to bring both, is he needs to be set up for so much of his offense. The Heat already have guys who are in that category. Realistically, he is a damn shooter. It's not 39% on low attempts from three. He shot 159 3-pointers last year. He attempted 159 threes and he hit them at a 39% clip. It's legitimately in the bag. The defense is real. I don't know how much he can do aside from these things. He moves very well laterally, athletically, defensively in particular, very smooth, glides very well around the court, does have some, he's not a very bouncy athlete for whatever reason, and he's not very good in attacking close quarters in space, finishing through contact and things of that nature. But he has enough feel and agility to make up for some of these deficiencies. So ultimately, I do think he's a guy who should be in consideration for this pick, and I would be very happy if he was the pick, to be very honest. But this is one of the guys that Twitter is absolutely in love with, because they're the tape matches, his highlights, Franky, are elite. He dunks, he tries to dunk everything. He's everywhere. The shot is smooth. He has enough size. He has enough of a frame to do a bunch of things that you want from a 3-4, 4-5. But, ultimately there are some question marks. So I would just like to see the negative assist to turnover thing. That shit was real on tape. If they close out if whoever was closing out was able to contain his drive, it was rough to watch him make a play after that. It was, so it's, if the game can be made easy for him, he's going to make the game he's just going to accentuate the returns on it. if the game is in the mud for him, I don't think he can help you get it out of there. If that makes some sense to some people,
I
but
got you.
he's super polarizing. And I think a lot of people are having him in the late 20s. I think that's a joke. I think he'll be gone before the 28, 29. I think consensus has him at 27 right now. So,
well, we'll get to where these guys land at the end. But like somebody in the chat is pointing out, do we have a point guard who can set him up? Right. I understand that, but we want to talk about like all the prospects. The Heat have more than one need. They need more than
100%.
They need talent. They need size. So
100%.
like if you can start knocking some of these holes out year by year, and that's how you build the team. Like it's not just like the Heat like to do it in one offseason, and it can't be done like that.
This one pick is not going to save the franchise.
Right.
This is going to be
most likely
stepping stone. If it is, most likely. Hopefully I'm fucking wrong and it does, but most likely it's not going to change it. So like increasingly, all you want it to be is a stepping stone in the right direction. So eventually, when you do have the chance to get a franchise changing player, he fucking helps make his job easier. And Rasheer Fleming, without a doubt, can do that.
Yeah. And we talk about the need for a backup big. Rasheer, with his shooting ability, you can play him with a Ware, with a Bam.
Yep.
He could play some small ball 5 as well. So there is versatility to bring to the table. And I think he's going to be a respectable, like they'll attack his closeouts very hard because he's a good shooter and can shoot over contests. Does need to improve on the attack, attacking the closeouts, because that will determine a lot of where he stays in the league. A lot of his assists were off DHOs, like very simple assists where he didn't really read the defense. So I am concerned about that, but I do really like this prospect. There is a high floor to stand on, and I hope I'm rooting for this kid. I like his tape.
And Franky, there is also a high ceiling. Like the ceiling is just never going to be on ball star, but it's going to be like there is a star in his role kind of ceiling. Like
absolutely,
maybe he's never going to hit Anunoby levels, but that's the prototype of player you would want him to turn
Aaron
into.
Gordon and
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
Those guys who are versatile. You don't want, if he's creating, you're topping out at 38 wins and you're the Orlando Magic years ago. But if he's got a guy who lets him play to his strengths, you could potentially have a real stud here. Now,
absolutely,
the next guy, controversial, Liam McNeely, number 30 out of UConn, freshman. He has he's 18 and a half years old. He's the youngest prospect we're discussing today. 6'6" and 3/4, 214 pounds, 6'8" wingspan with an 8'4" standing reach. This guy played at Montverde High School Academy. If you didn't know where that was, he played with Cooper Flagg, Derek Queen, Asa Newell in high school. That was one of the best teams of all time. Those are all first rounders. The very good, big time prospect here. Went to UConn. Lou, I have some stats here on his shooting, on the kind of shots he was taking on the three. This guy has a big time reputation. Not a great year as a shooter. Shot 31% from deep, but you can see the breakdown. A lot of it was from the off the dribble, which is a small sample size. Granted, 3 for 23. That's barely anything, but that really tanked his shooting ability. Unguarded catch and shoot, 43%. A lot more to like there. But I want you to talk more about Liam here. Give me some things about what you like and what you don't like.
So some things that I do like about him is, his effort is always really high. Moves really well without the basketball. Like a lot of it maybe was scheme, but he really flies off of screens. Decent floater. The best way I can compare it to is he will be very comfortable in the Heat system because UConn ran a lot of similar concepts with him off ball that the Heat would run typically for their guards, whether that is a Duncan, whether that is a Tyler, like they run a lot of similar stuff for him. Right. So the transition to picking up the system, I think, will be quick and it'll be easy. He played a lot of minutes for a team that, for a coach that values winning. So that's good. Some of the concerns though, Franky, the jumper doesn't. So he wasn't a great 3-point shooter. You can see where the jumper is, but it's the difference in when he is open and when he is getting contested, his base goes out of whack. He really struggles shooting from range. Like I'm talking 2-3 feet, 4-5 feet behind the 3-point line. And
As he
that's
just drains one.
as he drains one, literally. But it's something that showed up repetitively on film. He doesn't get his feet enough underneath the shots. So the further out he goes, it almost feels like the shorter his shots are, or the more variance there are to his misses. So it's very interesting with a guy who's very well renowned, or is because he shot 87% at the free throw line. Like the form there is something there offensively in terms of his shot making. It's just how consistent can it be? Because if he is a 32% 3-point shooter like he was this year, I don't think he has a life in the NBA. I'll just be honest. His defense left a lot to be desired, in my opinion. Offensively, he is a pretty decent passer. In particular, really like him processing when he gets two people on him, kind of like the same way Duncan does. Obviously not in the same realm, but like when the two guys close out,
I understand what you mean.
He's very good at picking apart where the pass should go, the timing and stuff of it. But not particularly a great rim finisher. 46% at the rim. Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes. Like there's not much good to say about that right there. 13% on pull-up threes. You can really see his struggles and his ability to separate as a ball handler and his comfort in terms of getting back on balance when he does have some kind of space. Like I don't think he's going to be a 13% pull-up shooter in the league, but it's just there is a gap there. Like I don't think he's an elite level shooter to warrant this kind of reputation that he's been getting as of recent.
I do want to know, I did, while researching him today and this past week, I did find out supposedly he was playing through an ankle injury. I'm not sure. I couldn't find more detail about that. So I don't know how long he was playing through it. So that might affect some of the the planting and the movement stuff, the lifting and on the pull-up threes, that all might be affected. But like you said, 35% on non-rim twos. 43% at the rim in the half court, so it was even worse there. I do give him credit for playing through that ankle injury as a freshman, risking his draft stock. A lot of guys who didn't play well and played through an injury would probably go back to school. So I was surprised he even came out to the draft and stuck through. The reputation, obviously, as a shooter, the free throw percentage, that's to like. He's a good rebounder. You mentioned his feel. Also, 41% free throw rate. That's very good for a wing, especially a freshman, somebody who doesn't have much off-ball juice, so can get to the line and use that free throw percentage.
It's a good use.
Yeah, but just from what I've seen, like defensively and stuff, like I don't like his floor. I don't think he's offensively like special enough to like compensate for what he lacks defensively. I don't think there's a high floor to get there, like to like a neutral defender. He has to be very smart. He has a positive wingspan and good size. So he's kind of like a Joe Harris, maybe like defensively, where you're still hiding him a little bit, but maybe if he's strong enough, is smart enough, he can make enough plays to not be a negative. But I at 20, there's just so much more talent available in my opinion.
Yeah, it's personally, it's very rich for my taste at 20. He reminds me like last year, Johnny Furphy got a lot of hype as a first round pick, ended up going in the 30s to the Pacers. Like not the same player, but I think the hype is just about like, it's very similar to me. Like I don't know what he can do. If he can't shoot, even if he does shoot, I don't really know what he can do, even with the shot. Like, I don't know what else he could do.
Yeah, I'm with you. Chat's asking, but would he cook in Sioux Falls? Probably. Everybody cooks in Sioux Falls. And we're going to talk about our last guy here. This is kind of the decisive guy that we kind of had disagreements on. Cedric Coward out of Washington State. He is a prospect with a lot of hype. There was belief that he had committed to Duke to transfer his last year. He had played his first couple years in Eastern Washington, played 6 games in Washington State University before tearing his labrum in his shoulder, and that ended the rest of his season. Committed to Duke, was trying out the draft process and got a lot of fanfare. And this is one of the quickly rising prospects with a lot of hype in the draft community. And a lot of people think he's a guaranteed lotto pick, as I've heard. I don't know about that. I see it all over the place, so I don't know that, but lots to like about him, in my opinion. He's 21.8, so he's about to turn 22. He's 6'5", 213 pounds, 7'2" wingspan, 8'10" standing reach. He measured the 9th largest hands in the combine. He had the hands way bigger than some of the bigs and some of the guys we talked about. Over his college career, shot 58.6% on non-rim twos. That's middies and everything. He was lights out. Like I said, only 6-game sample this season, averaged about 18, 7, 4, and 2 blocks on 56, 40, 84% from the line. But I know it was a lower level, different school. That's pretty much on par with his whole college career. He's very efficient. Obviously, again, small sample size, but I did go over his other years just to get more context. His first this year, 99th percentile points per possession. The year before, 96th. The year before, 97th. On post-ups, 97th this year, 66th last year, 90th his freshman year, 38.5 max vert. I think this kid, shout out to this draft account, Cali Drafts, that does a great job measuring the combine score for every prospect and compares to their position, you can see their hand length, width, lane agility, all their athletic measurements, and compares it to other prospects that have tested out at their position. He tested out 99.8 percentile at shooting guard. He is one of the biggest combine guys with already a great base as a shooter.
Yep.
A lot to like. I think, and he also compared it to small forwards. He was still pretty high in the 85th percentile, I believe it was. So I really like this guy. I think I can see exactly where the Heat would use him. You see right here, he makes a skip pass from the post, trails back, they push in transition. Look where the recovery where he blocks his shot, takes off from the free throw line to contest and blocks at the rim. I watched a tape of him breaking it down. He's like, I kind of blacked out, and I kind of like that. But I really like this kid. I know there's a lot of concerns with the small sample size versus top competition, his ball handling questions, what's the upside as a lead creator. But I think there's enough as a role player floor where this guy defends, he tries, he competes, he contests at the rim. The Heat are going to use him in the post, would use him in the post against smaller matchups, can attack a closeout, really good mid-range, good shooter, can make skip passes. I think that the floor is really high on this kid. I'm just trusting what I see, what the skill set, what the him dominating lower levels. That's what a top prospect should do.
Yeah. I like him. I don't love him. This is my biggest concern with Cedric Coward. I love the shot. I do. I think the jumper is nice. 41% on catch and shoot threes over his, obviously 6 years. 6 games this year, last year, full last year plus these 6 games, 41% on catch and shoot threes, 88% free throw percentage, 75% at the rim. These numbers are fan-fucking-tastic. They really, really are fantastic. The concern with him, personally, the spot-up stuff is great too. The transition stuff is good. The post-up things are good. This is my concern, Franky. Most of these post-up situations were against lower-level schools. He does and again, this is a positive too. Against smaller guys, he has a mismatch advantage. He can really attack that. That's good. He can seal them. He's a big enough target. You can get the over-the-top passes. If he gets fronted, you can throw lobs. He is very versatile in that sense. His creation, to me personally, is an issue. Very simple ball handles. Not a great live dribble passer, but he is a very solid connective playmaker. So it just, to me, it ultimately depends what you want his role to be. Because I don't think he's like, the touch is good. Like, there's so much to like about him. My concern was when he played higher level competition, he disappeared. I saw all his top 50 games of his career, or at least the last 2 seasons. Last year, he only played one. It was against Iowa, Cincinnati, the Baylor, Bradley. Like, he played against some iffy schools. He really, really struggled. Like, there was no other way to put it. Offensively, it was not his best performance. I think he shot, if I'm not mistaken, like 3 for 17 against the top 50 schools from 3. His 2-point percentage dropped from like 60s to 54. Just, there's some concern there if you want him to be your main guy. My biggest sell on him is if he can, which I think he can. Like, I do think, but when you see him play without the basketball, that's what brings me back in. Because against these lower level comps, when he's on ball, that's not an issue. But against the higher level competition, he really struggles on ball. However, when they took the ball out of his hands and they let him play wing like a normal person is supposed to at 6'5", and that's what he's going to project in the NBA anyways, he looked really comfortable. Like, I was like, why is he bringing your point guard then? Like, if his biggest issue is breaking guys off the dribble and having all eyes on him, let him come off of pin downs, because he can come off of pin downs. And when he does, his jumper's nice. Like, there's some things to like about him. I don't think he's gonna be a superstar offensively. Like, again, it's just tough. But I do think
you're at 20. You're at 20.
Rare. You're at 20. I would have liked to see some more consistency versus higher level comp. I do think this is a guy who, if he works out well, sheesh. Like, I think he worked out for OKC. That's the highest team that he's worked out for. OKC's picking at 15. Like, yeah, I could see it, man. Like, realistically, I can. Like, if you fall in love with if you can accentuate what he's really, really good at, you are going to value the shit out of him. If you are going to make him create and do all these things, like, he was good in post-ups. Do I think that's going to translate? Not really. Like, it's going to be very niche. Like, it's going to be a small part of his game is what I'm trying to get at. Can he make it work against certain guys in the league? Absolutely. I just don't know how much. So you're like, a lot of the things he was doing at Eastern Washington aren't translatable to the end. Like, the role he played in was not anything he was going to do in the league. So it was tough to watch. But when he played against these tougher schools, you can really see his weaknesses accentuated. But again, you can see his strengths. So if you have an idea that this guy's going to come in, be an energy fucking wing, play defense, be in lanes, be a weak side rim protector, because he can be at 6'5", be able to just cause havoc, steal out guys, space the floor, connective pass. If that's your role for him, home run. But if you want him to create for him and for others, I think you're going to be asking a little bit too much. At least year 1. Can he get there? Absolutely, because he's a late bloomer. He went to D3 first, and then played 2 years at Eastern Washington, and then played a year at Washington State. Like, but he's not as ready as your typical 3-year guy, because he didn't play that high level of comp. So he will take a little bit of patience, but I do think the payout is going to be worth it.
I think his game reminds, like, the style, not saying the ceiling or anything like that, just the style reminds me a lot of Wesley Matthews Jr.
Okay.
And he's a 2 guard who I think, with his size and his length, like, once again, he has the highest outside of Rasheer Fleming, who's the outlier for fucking wings, but he has an 8'10" standing reach. It's 3 inches shorter than Fleming, who is a freak standing reach. He has a 3-inch shorter wingspan than him. He is great. And the hands and the size, like, I think he's going to be able to comfortably at some point guard bigger wings as well. And that brings some versatility. I don't think he's going to be a guy you put on ball on point of attack or anything like that. But like you said, I think with the shot, I think he's going to get defended like a shooter. He's going to be able to attack off closeouts, going to make connected passing. I watched a lot of his high-low games in the post, and like you said, the post ups aren't going to translate as like they're going to run stuff inside, but he knows how to maneuver inside is what I look for in the post, and that's valuable because he makes a good post entry pass. He made high-low decisions, made good passes in those opportunities. And like you said, like against topic competition, absolutely he struggled. I think a lot of that is just he can't scale up to that as the ball handler, as the lead guy.
100%.
And that's also like not having the teammates. I think this is a guy that if he had stayed another year in college at Duke with more talent, there would have been a lot of talk of his about his game, but he would have been a year older, and you're looking at a lot of lost potential there. He might not go as high as he would if he goes next year, if he would have stayed one more year, but he's risking injury again. And I think what he's put up on tape, I think it's very valuable, especially at 20. Like this is a guy who I think his floor is way higher than a lot of these other guys. And let's go into it right here with our rankings. So I know we talked about Proctor, but he's a guard. We're not including him. Do you have just real quick, Proctor? Do you have him ahead of any of the other guards that we went over? Traore, Jace, Seraph.
So I have him a little bit ahead of Walter, like on the same tier as
Walter Clayton as well. Same tier. Yeah. Okay. I agree with that because I think defensively provides more. He has a way higher floor than Clayton, in my opinion.
I think he has, like you said, a floor. I think he has a higher possibility to stick long term, just because of the size, and he does play defense. Then Walter Clayton kind of can phase that in and out of his game sometimes. So, but that's just Tyrese Proctor.
That's fair. And before we get into our rankings for the 5 guys we talked about today for the wing group, chat, any questions? I know Carla Tiana asked if G is going to say sage to the front office. No, G is not going to waste any sages on the front office. He's going to let them die as they may. But we're going to go for our rankings here. I think, look, Liam McNeely, no disrespect to him. Sure, he's a good person. He is the only guy, like one of the only guys we've talked about that if he's the pick, I will be upset.
Yeah.
Will Riley,
1,000%.
Will Riley, I understand it. He's 4th tier for me in this grouping. And then for the top 3, I have Fleming number 3, just because I think he's a big, he's on the same tier as my number 2. Like I think I would be more excited for Fleming, but I think he has a lower ceiling than like a lower floor than the next guy, and Nique Clifford. Nique Clifford's my number 2. I think he's just a great connector. I think his floor, even if he doesn't shoot it at a well enough clip, where I believe he's not going to be afraid of shooting like some of these other guys. But like I think his floor is like Josh Hart. If Josh Hart was a willing shooter and wasn't terrified of being open, he would be even better. But he is terrified of shooting and missing, and I don't think Nique has that problem. But just some of the all-around game, I think Clifford could really provide for that. And I have Cedric Coward number 1 just because I think I don't question his shooting. I think in the right role, I think this guy could be a good 10-year starter in the league.
Yeah, no, I mean, so just to run it back, your rankings are Cedric, Nique, Fleming, Riley, McNeely.
Yeah.
And the only one that you would not take at 20 and be happy with
is McNeely.
Okay. So for me, let me start from the bottom. It's the easiest way. Yeah. McNeely, fuck out of here. Like, I'll be honest. Like I can't sell myself on him. Like, I genuinely can't.
I think there's 30 guys I prefer over McNeely.
McNeely is one of the guys, along with Joan Behringer, who I am praying go before 20. Like I am praying as hard as I can that those 2 guys go before 20, because that means 2 guys that are a lot better are going to drop, and it prevents the Heat from making a fuck up, because they're prone to those. The front office might have rolled over into the draft room at this point. Who knows? My number 4 guy is also Will Riley. I don't have him a whole tier below. It's funny because I don't even view Fleming as Fleming is such an outlier that it's so difficult to rank him in with this list, because I don't think he could be a big, to me, I think he can play some 5 minutes in a pinch. So he's almost like in a tier of his own. I do like Fleming for his role more than I like Coward for what his role is supposed to be. I feel more comfortable with Fleming playing tomorrow in the Heat and being able to be very good than Fleming. I'm sorry, Fleming than Coward. I messed that up. But
Okay.
for me, in terms of who I would want the Heat to take, Coward would be my number 1. Nique would be 2. Fleming, Riley, McNeely. That would just be the order. But again, Fleming is like a little asterisk.
Because you think he's a big.
Because I think he's a big, like, I don't think he's ever going to play the 3, but I do think he can. I do think he can play some 4 and 5 minutes, like, without any question. And I do value his ability to play alongside both Bam and Kel'el Ware. And Nico as well. So, like, I think he plugs a lot of holes for you. So out of all these guys, if I was like to say who do I want the Heat to draft the most, probably would be Fleming, but Cedric would probably be my number 2. But if just in terms of wings, he would be my 3rd wing.
That's fair.
I know it's a little confusing.
No, I understand. You're saying you see Fleming more as a big, so like it's hard to rank them as wings, but overall as prospects, you probably have Fleming 1.
Yeah, and the only reason I don't have Nique 1, the only reason I don't have Nique over Cedric in terms of like what I want for Miami is it's going to be age. Like, that's really what it comes down to. Is I would rather them get a guy who's 2 years younger, and I think Clifford can really help your team, but I do think there is just a cap to his growth. Like, how much can he really get? I do think there's the cap also for Coward, but it's just realistically him being 2 years younger. Some of the, like, we've seen the Heat swing on upside before. Like, they did it last year with Kel'el. They did it during the Nico year. They did it with Precious. They did it with KZ. Do they always hit on these? No, but you can see the intent is there, because all it takes, Franky, is one. Like, if you hit on one of those guys, who cares about your 17 other misses? The Thunder took Ousmane Dieng right before Jalen Williams. Do you think anybody talks about him?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because they hit on Jalen Williams.
Go look at the Bucks draft history. Please look at the Bucks draft history. They took after Bogut, Jabari Parker, unfortunately with the injuries, but Giannis at 15 changed their franchise. We all know that. They haven't hit much else. It was Dante DiVincenzo, and he popped off after he left Milwaukee. So like you said, you just got to hit one. You just got to take a chance on that. So we have a couple more shows to go. We're going to do one more show on next Tuesday. We're going to do our final mock draft. We're going to have a guest on. Obviously, if they trade the pick beforehand, we'll probably adjust, and we'll see what we do. If we'll have a final show at all. We're going to do a live show. I do want to note, of all the guys that we've talked about, the wings, the guards, the bigs, there's only been 5 players that have been invited to the green room. 5 players.
Yep.
And there is one more invite. There's it's a total of 24 guys get invited every year. 19 have been sent out. There's one more group of 5 that gets sent out. We don't know who they are, who they're going to be. No hints so far. But only 5 guys that we've gone over. It's Thomas Sorber and Asa Newell for the bigs, Nolan Traore for the guards, Liam McNeely, and Will Riley. So it's 2 guys that we're kind of low on. Sorber, we didn't really expect to be there anyways. I don't think we expected Newell to be there either. Traore was hit or miss. I've heard people rate him as high as 10 to Houston. So like his board is all over the place. We don't know because it's an international guy. So I'm very encouraged by the work we've done, because I think a lot of these guys are realistic. I think they're going to be available. Did you had one more note you wanted to give?
Yeah, I just had like a note, because these are just some quick hitters on some of the 2 other wings, like the consensus board, which, by the way, I think everybody should go. I think it's like literally consensusboard.com, consensusbigboard.com. There's 2 other wings that are ranked in the first round. However, I have not seen anybody linking them as high as 20. Noah Penda is one of them. And
I love Penda.
Penda is very interesting to me. Basically he's like a 6'7", 242. Like, he is massive, 7-foot wingspan, connector. He plays in France, 20 years old. He's a very safe guy, but a guy that I've been just falling in love with, and I would actually rank him above Will Riley if it came down to it, would be Hugo Gonzalez. I think he'd fit the vibes, Franky. Spanish guy.
Juice.
Habla Espanol. His name is Hugo. Juice, man. Gonzalez, 19 out of Real Madrid. I don't know if anybody knows. Pretty good guy, came from Real Madrid. Name of Luka Doncic, guys.
Don't do that. Don't do that. But he's not a no Sabo kid as far as we know. But counterpoint, he is a Vosotros kid, and that's a red flag. Does he have the lisp? If he has the lisp, I'm completely
I haven't heard him talk, but what I will say,
I've seen him play. He's a good player. He's a good player.
Guys, like, I am not joking. He was the best player on the FIBA U18 teams for every single game I saw, and he was going up against Kasparis Yakichonis, who's going to be a lottery pick this year. He was doing whatever he wanted to Lithuania, who is the 6th best team, by the way. I don't expect people to know that. I didn't either. I had to Google it, but they're a really good team under 18 last year. So, and he was sensational. His role and stuff really changed. But if he is the pick, I know, because we always do this. They always draft somebody who we don't expect, right? Franky, like, we hit on them, but I just wanted to make sure I threw him in there because you never know with the Heat. You never know.
Absolutely. And we have one final question here from Big 8C. Shout out to Big 8C, to constant supporter of ours, always in the chat. They ask, what archetype do you guys prefer if we pick at 20? I am strictly best player available. We will know at the time, only at the time, who that player is, according to our boards. I think we're gonna do like a big board, and we'll release our tiers on Twitter, and probably talk maybe even the night of the draft to see how we rank everybody. I know Lou does it regardless, but I'll see if I have the energy to do it. But Lou, is there an archetype you're preferring here?
Yeah, an archetype that I'm preferring is somebody who I know this isn't like an archetype. This kind of might be like a cop-out answer because I'm not looking for a 3-and-D wing or an initiating point guard or a rim protecting big. Yeah. The archetype is somebody who has a skill that the floor is somewhat, at least being a rotation player, but also has a skill that you can see turning into something else. I don't want the Heat to draft and be content with drafting a bench player. Right. I would much rather they completely fucking whiff on a home run pick than take a Liam McNeely because they know that they can get 10 minutes a night from him. I'm tired, and this is no shade to Jaime. I'm tired of the Jaime Jaquez selection in the first round. Just fucking swing for the fence.
Yeah, we didn't like the Ware pick because McCain was also available. We liked McCain fitting a lot more. But I appreciate the swing. I do appreciate the swing, and I admit we were wrong about the fit. It fit a lot better. Credit to Bam for fucking making it work on both ends as well. And I did just get a breaking text for Moose to the answer. His preferred archetype is keeping the fucking pick.